here on this case?
Corey Dillon for the people.
Christopher Smallwood, a math Mr. Wheeler who appears virtually.
Okay, well, welcome to everybody. Mr. Wheeler, can you hear and see us okay?
Yes, I can, Your Honor. Can you hear and see me okay?
Yes, I can. Are you agreed to have this hearing by video like we're doing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Mr. Wheeler, I see we're scheduled for the status conference. I'm going to ask your lawyer how he would like to proceed, and then I'm going to ask the lawyer for the district attorney. I remember that we met last time on November the 18th. So, Mr. Smallwood, how would you like to proceed, sir?
Your Honor, on November 18th, I indicated that the in county court there was proceedings regarding competency, and we were just going to use the same document. The 25th, Mr. Wheeler let the court know that he's been repeatedly trying to get in contact with the evaluator, but no one has gotten in contact with him. And so the court, it quite a ways out. I'm actually surprised. The county court continued his next hearing until March 21st. So I don't think we're going to get an evaluation before March 21st, because in my experience, the way these things work is maybe a week or two before the next hearing is when they actually write out the evaluation. So I think what makes most sense here is to continue to trail the county court case to March 24th. I think that's the next Thursday we have available. And then hopefully on the 1st, they actually have an evaluation completed and we can proceed on this case.
Okay, thank you for the recommendation. How would the district attorney like to proceed?
So, Judge, my notes reflect that competency was not raised in this case because we were going to get the competency report from case 21M2195. So basically, we were trailing that misdemeanor case to get the report so that determination could be made as to whether the defendant would be competent to proceed here. So it sounds like the defense is still not raising competency in this case, but is wanting to continue to wait for that report in the misdemeanor case, which I would defer to you.
Usual. I'm inclined to order an evaluation and see if that can get us on their radar. Let me ask my staff if they have some timing information for me. My staff is telling me that there's a new form, JDF 46, and we may or may not get that exactly correct, but that is a form that allows us to request reports from other jurisdictions, which we're allowed to do here in Denver. My assistant tells me that we could issue that form or order, and that we could continue trailing Denver County Court, and we could put this case on a mental health hold. What's your position on that?
Your Honor, I think so that corresponds to my initial request, just holding off till later when I think that's when the next court date is. If we can proceed that way, I'm perfectly happy to do that. Mr. Dillon, I think, also has a good recommendation where we just raise comp here, and then we can set a court date a little bit sooner, with the hope that the evaluator will get back a little bit quicker. I'm happy to proceed either way. Complicated way, of course, is just waiting until March because that proceeding's already begun. Whereas here, we have to hopefully get in touch with an evaluator and do our own thing here. So of those two, I defer to the court.
Let me see what Mr. Dillon. Mr. Dillon, what's your recommendation on these two processes?
So I guess I'm a little bit clear on the first option. You said that there's now a form that can be submitted by Your Honor to the state hospital that basically says, we have a case pending here, we also want to give that report. Is that correct?
Yes, that's my understanding from my assistant, Mr. Stanford.
And that form was not previously filed after the last court date?
No, what? It's brand new form.
Okay, so, yeah, I have no objection to that, Your Honor. I'm actually on the working group with the folks at the state hospital, so I was aware that they were working on that. I didn't know that it had been sent out. What I don't know is if that speeds up the process at all, but let's give that a try.
Yeah, I don't know that it does, Mr. Dillon, but I guess what it does is it puts us on the radar of the mental health group, and they know that we are expecting a part of the request with Denver County Court for this document. I think I'm going to go down that road, Mr. Dillon. It may be the wrong decision. We'll know in March, but I'm going to give it a shot. Mr. Wheeler, I'm going to schedule you for March 24th at 8:30. That's going to be when you come back to court. Between now and then, you're going to meet with a doctor that is going to do an evaluation of you, and then we'll get that report before March 24th, and we'll be able to make some decisions then. I'm going to have my staff issue this form. I believe it's called the JDF 46. I will issue that form so that we can be on the radar of the mental health professionals, so we can get a copy of that report. Mr. Wheeler, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, Your Honor. I was wondering if I'm allowed to travel. Long story short, I tried revalidating my passport, and they said that there's some issues that I needed proof from the court that I'm allowed to travel. I believe I submitted a request prior to Christmas. I've informed pretrial services. I sent emails to Christopher Thomas, Lindsay Dixon. I spoke with somebody in the office, and it kind of just passed the buck. So I was wondering if I could get something in writing that says I still have the human right to travel for medical purposes.
Okay, let me ask your lawyer and then the DA. Anything else on that, Mr. Smallwood, that you'd like to supplement?
Your Honor, sorry, Mr. Wheeler previously contacted me about this. My understanding is that the type of supervision he's under only requires, it says, do not leave the state of Colorado without first providing travel information to a pretrial services officer. And that if he was on intensive supervision or maximum, that's when he would have to obtain consent to the court as well. So, because he's on the enhanced supervision, I think he only needs the pretrial to give him the okay. It sounds like that's what Mr. Wheeler's been trying to do to the best of his ability, but weird spot. So he just needs something to get to the passport office to say that he can travel. So.
Mr. Dillon, do you have any position on this request to travel by Mr. Wheeler?
Judge, I don't really get involved with the conditions of bond once the court has established those. I suspect you didn't address that because the defendant is represented by an attorney, and it looks like he filed a pro se motion. So I would defer to you. I do have a question about that JDF form, and wondering if Bridges should be appointed or some liaison should be appointed to make sure that the appointments are being set up and being attended and those sorts of things.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to authorize this travel. Mr. Wheeler, I'm going to require you to complete a waiver of extradition if you've not already done so.
I've already done so, Your Honor,
You have? Okay.
to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is check the file, and while I'm doing that, just double check that we have a waiver of extradition in the file. I am not seeing that, Mr. Wheeler. Let me just double check one other spot here.
I will totally sign that paperwork. I thought I signed it when I bonded out, but if I did not, I will totally sign it.
Okay, I'll authorize the travel on a couple of conditions. One, that you do this waiver of extradition. We can send a copy of a blank form to Mr. Smallwood, who can get it to you for you to sign and for it to be filed with the court. So that's one way that you'll be able to do that.
just to double clarify, I contact them after this court date because that's our normal thing. I contact them after every court date to tell them what's going on, the next court date that's been assigned. Maintain all the other conditions of bond, which I believe is don't contact some dude and don't go to the view house. Don't have any contact with law enforcement. If I do, contact pretrial services, and just maintain all that. Sign the waiver of extradition, and then I can get a letter that I can email to the passport office stating it's okay for me to get my passport renewed.
Well, I'm not gonna produce a letter, but I'm gonna authorize you to travel if you do the things that you're saying. And so you might be able to get a copy of the court minute order that says that you're authorized to travel with a waiver of extradition, and as long as you're in compliance with pretrial supervision and your bond conditions. And so I can write that in the court file, and then you can give a copy of that to the passport group. Whether they allow you to do something or not, I don't know, but I can make that note in our court file, and you could show that to them.
I believe most recent time I spoke with them, they said I needed something in writing from the court that I'm allowed to travel.
I'm not going to create anything in writing for you other than what I've mentioned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, your lawyer can help you draft it, though. Your lawyer can maybe draft a letter on your behalf and include a copy of the court minute order and say exactly what the court is saying, is that you're allowed to travel with a waiver of extradition, compliance with pretrial and bond. Let me ask one thing of my assistant Stanford. The district attorney is asking whether or not we need to appoint Bridges and whether or not Bridges is, I think there's some additional information, Mr. Dillon, that you wanted to ask about.
Yeah, just,
We just need to make sure that we have contact information. Okay. We can appoint a Bridges, Mr. Dillon, if that makes sense. Is that what, I don't know if the DA can ask for that. I thought that was something that the defense asked for. Yeah. Mr. Smallwood, I'm going to appoint the Bridges group. Mr. Wheeler, the Bridges group is just a group that's going to help you connect with these mental health professionals. It's another resource for you so that they can ensure that you meet with them and get this evaluation done. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, they're called Bridges. Let me make sure we have the best phone number. We need phone number and mailing, or just phone number? Just phone number. We're going to need your best contact phone number, Mr. Wheeler, and this is not to talk about the case. It's only to talk about getting you set up with that medical professional.
It ends in 5933 if you still have that number on file.
Let's see if we have the number ending in 5933. Yes, we do have it. You still on Clarkson?
No, sir. I'm at 1955 Arapahoe Street.
Okay. Is there an apartment or
Yeah.
anything to that?
Apartment 1407.
1955 Arapahoe Street, apartment 1407. Is that Denver?
Yes, sir. 80202.
80202 Denver. Okay, Bridges is a group that's going to connect you with the mental health professionals. They're not there to talk to you about your case or to be your lawyer, but they're going to help get you connected to this other doctor so they can do that evaluation. And Mr. Smallwood, anything else?
I just let the court know that Mr. Wheeler has done the waiver of extradition. I'm looking at the minutes from the county court. At first advisement, he acknowledged on the record. So I don't know if the court wants an additional one. I don't think they have anything in the paper file. They just said acknowledge on the record. And so he has waived it.
Let me see. Do we need a written one? I don't see one in our file, Mr. I don't see it. Let me see if the county court documents have it. I'll double check again. I didn't see it earlier. But let me double check to see perhaps I've made a mistake on that. Okay. Mr. Wheeler, do you know if pretrial services has that document? If
I'm not exactly sure if they have it. I went into their office once. I signed all the required paperwork, and from since that moment, it's been call-ins.
Well, you'll need to do a written one, Mr. Smallwood. I don't see it, sir. I'm sorry to burden you and your client with this additional thing, but we'll need to get it done if you want to travel. And so, Mr. Smallwood, do we need to email you a blank copy of something like this?
That would be ideal, and then I can just forward it to Mr. Wheeler.
Okay, we'll do that today. We'll send, and Mr. Manriquez Hernandez or Mr. Searcy and my assistants can help and send a blank waiver of extradition to Mr. Wheeler's lawyer. And Mr. Wheeler, you'll need to fill it out, file it, and then you can move forward in all the ways that you want it to do. We're going to see you back the 24th at 8:30, Mr. Wheeler, and I am appointing Bridges, and we are going to do that for Mr. Dillon, the JDF 46, to get our name on the list for this report as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. That's all for this case.
Thank you.
Wait, what's our next court date? I'm sorry, Judge.
March 24th, 8:30.
And that's, is that after the county court date, or?
It is.
Right, thank you.
Yep, after the county court date, yep. If you have one. Okay, Mr. Goldstein, you ready on Daisy Stevenson's case?
We are ready on Mr. Stevenson, and then we also have Mr. Kane, who's in custody, ready on both members.
We're going to do Stevenson first very quickly because this has been pending. He's been here, I think he was the first one here. This is People of the State of Colorado versus Daisy Stevenson, 21 Sierra 4978, scheduled for disposition, number 26 on our docket.